Om Gananam Tva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Shranvannotibhissi Dasadanam Shri Mahaganadipataye Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Janno Mitrashyam Varunaha Shanno Bhavatvariyama Shanna Indro Bruhaspatihi Shanno Vishnururukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ratam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear friends, in the last class we completed the 6th Anuvaka of Brahmananda Valli of Taittiriya Upanishad, and I also gave a brief introduction to say the 7th Anuvaka. But then in the 7th Anuvaka, after having given a brief introduction, we also started reading the mantra, but by that time the time was over, and then I think we will continue reading the mantra again. We will read the mantra again, and I will give the broad meaning of the mantra, and then we will go into the Bhashyam. Okay. So let us read the mantra. In the introduction for this say Anuvaka, I told you that this Anuvaka gives certain important concepts like Abhayam and another concept called Rasam. And again, these are the things, again these are given by way of additional reasons to say that there is Brahman. In fact, the question was about whether Brahma exists at all or not. So the fact that there is something called Abhayam, Jnani Sthiti, a person, a realized person, what is his status? He attains Abhayam. And then he is also Anandi Bhavati, that is, he also rejoices, he attains that bliss. So these are all indications that there is something called Brahman. So these are all additional reasons to prove the existence of Brahman. So that way also the interpretation or the Bhashyam goes on. So let us read the mantra first. Asadva idamagra asit tato vai sadajayata tadatmanag swayam akuruta. Atmanag is Atmanam swayam akuruta. In what is this? In say Yajurveda, say the way they recite is Atmanag swayam akuruta. Tasmat tat sukrutam uchyata iti yadvai tat sukrutam raso vai saha rasaguhyevayam labdhvanandi bhavati kohyevanyat kah pranyat yadesha akasha anando nasyat yesha hyevanandayati yada hyevaishaye tasmin adrusyena nirukte nilayane bhayam pratishtham vindate. Yada hyevaisha athaso bhayangato bhavati yada hyevaishaye tasmin udaramantaram kurute atha tasya bhayam bhavati tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya tadapyesha shloko bhavati. So we'll briefly go through the meaning. Asat va idam agre asit. Idam means this. This means all that is manifest, all this world which we are seeing. Agre means in the beginning, that is Sushteha prior to this creation. What was it? It was Avyakurta. Asat asit. Asat means Avyakurta. Asat does not mean total non-existence. So the point here is Asat there were some people who were taking the view that asat means shunyam. So Buddhas, for example, when they say that asadva idamagra asit, very nice, your Upanishad is saying that there was shunyam. So it is not shunyam, it is avyakruta. In the same supreme consciousness, there is an avyakruta state and then vyakruta state. In that avyakruta state, that is the whole universe prior to creation was in the avyakruta state. That avyakruta Brahma, it is called avyakruta Brahma. Then tato vai sadajayata. Tataha, from that. Why means indeed. Indeed, from that. Sad ajayata. This is sad means not Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, this Vyakruta world, this manifest world with names, forms, etc. All this thing has emerged from that. Then tad Atmanam Swayam Akuruta. Tat means we are again referring to that Avyakruta Brahma. That Avyakruta Brahma, Atmanam Swayam Akuruta. It created itself. Atmanam Swayam Akuruta, itself. What is this itself? Atmanam, it means itself. Atmanam here refers to the again Namarupa Prapancha. So it itself created or became the Namarupa Prapancha. It manifested as the Namarupa Prapancha. Atmanam Swayam Akurta means, literally it means it created itself. But what is it? Created itself means, that is, it manifested in the form of all the, say, the world which we see, all the universe which we see. Then, tasmat tat sukrutam uchyata iti. Therefore, from that point of view, tat means that avyakruta Brahma, sukrutam uchyate iti. Uchyate, that means it is said. Said what? It is called what? Sukrutam. The meaning of sukrutam, Shankaracharya is giving two meanings. One meaning is swayam krutam, swayam kartru, not krutam, swayam kartru, that is self-creator. One who without say the help of anything else, without say there is no other contingency on which he depends, without depending on anything else, that say Avyakruta Brahma itself has created. So that is one meaning. The second meaning is Sukrutam. The normal meaning which we see in the world is Sukrutam is Sukruta Dushkruta, we say. Sukrutam is Punyam, good deeds which give rise to Punyam. Dushkrutam is something which is Papam. So Sukruta is Punyam. So that meaning also he gives, Punya Papa, to include both. So Sukruta, one is Swayam Kartru, the other meaning is Punya or Papa. So Uchyata iti. Iti indicates the closure of this mantra. This mantra closes here. Then Yadvaita Sukrutam, that is again Brahmana portion. Mantra, Brahmana, isn't it? Mantra is one portion. Brahmana is the explanation for that mantra. Then Yadvaita Sukrutam Raso Vaisaha. Yat Sukrutam Tat Rasaha. Sorry, Sa Rasaha. Yat Sukrutam, because Sukrutam is in neuter gender. Yat Sukrutam Sa Rasaha. Rasaha means, Rasaha is in Pumlinga, so that's why. That which you call Sukrutam is also what is called Rasaha. Sukrutam is, whatever you say, you call it Swayam Kartru, or you say that is Punyam, whatever it is Rasaha. Rasaha means it is of the nature of pure bliss. It is of the nature of pure Ananda. And then whatever Ananda a human being or any being, any living being also desires. Even an ant derives a lot of happiness when it sees some sugar somewhere. So like that. So all the happiness which any being, any living being derives is only a reflection or a small, minuscule, say, reflection of that particular fountain of bliss. So that is what is the meaning here. Rasam hyeva ayam labdhva. Ayam means ayam jivaha, this particular jiva. Rasam hi eva. Rasam hi eva labdhva. Eva ayam labdhva. Ayam is this person. Rasam hi eva labdhva. Having obtained that particular rasam only. Labdhva means having obtained. Rasam is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Rasam hi eva. That having obtained that only. Having only obtained that, or rather only having obtained that, this only is a tricky word, only having obtained that particular rasam, then anandi bhavati, he becomes blissful, he becomes the embodiment of bliss, anandi bhavati. Only after getting that ananda, only from that fountain he draws his whatever happiness or joy he has. Then kohyeva anyat kah pranyat. Ko hi eva. Ko is who. Kaha. He. Because who he is because who can even kohi eva here it means even who can even inhale or who can exhale, that is it. Kohyeva anyat and pranyat. Say this prana and ana, it is anyat and pranyat. Who can even inhale or who can even exhale? Yadesha akasha anando nasyat, that is a continuation for that. If this ananda or happiness were not to be there in the Hridaya Akasha, Yadesha, this particular ananda, Akasha means, in the Akasha means Hridaya Akasha, in the Hridaya Akasha, if this bliss were not to be there, if this reflection of happiness were not to be there, who will even desire to live? Because a human being desires to live only because he derives some happiness. Every day a human being derives happiness right from morning till night, till we sleep, or even during sleep. You always derive some happiness. The moment morning you rise up and then you have some coffee and you have some happiness. Thereafter you take some bath, good nice bath, and then you derive happiness. Some breakfast and you derive happiness. So every action of ours is oriented to attaining some happiness. Even sleep is something which is giving us happiness. So, kohyeva anyat kah pranyat yadesha akashe anando nasyat. So this akasha, this Hridaya Akasha is structured in such a way that it derives happiness every moment from some source or the other. If this ananda were not to be there in this Hridaya Akasha, yesha anandaha hridaye nasyat. If this ananda were not to be there in the Hridaya Akasha, then kohyeva anyat kah pranyat. Who will even desire to live? Suppose this ananda is not there. Who will even desire to live? So that is it. Yesha hyeva anandayati. Yesha hi eva. This rasaha, whatever we are calling this rasaha, yesha is this. Yesha hi eva anandayati means anandayati. That this is what is making us all happy. Anandayati. Then yada hyevaisha etasmin adrusye anatmane nirukte nalayanaye bhayam pratishtham vindate. Yada means when yada hi eva yesha. Yesha here refers to the seeker, the sadhaka. Yesha sadhakaha yada abhayam pratishtham vindate. That is the line. Yada yesha sadhakaha, when this sadhaka or when this seeker, abhayam pratishtham vindate, when he attains that state of fearlessness, when he gets established, pratishtha is establishment, isn't it? Pratishtham vindate, he gets established in that state of fearlessness. And what is that state? Etasmin, in this, what is that? Adrushye. Adrushya is something which is beyond the perception, beyond sensory perception. That is, there is something which is, beyond sensory perception. Anatmye. Atma means, here it means self. Anatmye means it is devoid of self. We are having Stula Sharira, Karana Sharira, Sula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. This Atma is something which is devoid of these selves. Then Anirukte, which is not definable. Then Anilayane. Nilayanam means Needam Ashrayam, we saw in the last Anuvaka. That is something which can be spatially defined. This is something which cannot be spatially defined. This exists here. This is the Nilayanam. This is not the Nilayanam. It is not like that. It is all pervading, so it is Anilayanam. Anilayane. Abhayam pratishtham vindate. When he attains, when this sadhaka attains that particular state, Abhayam pratishtham, then athasaha Abhayam gato bhavati. Then he is the man who is called Abhayam gataha. He is called a person who has attained that state of fearlessness. That fearlessness is due to the vision of oneness. The fearlessness is basically due to the due to the vision of oneness. Unless that oneness is there, there is always fear. Then yada hi eva isha, yada hi eva yesha. When this person means this sadhaka, yesha sadhakaha, yada, when udaram etasmin means in this particular Brahma, or with regard to this Brahma, with regard to this one which is existing. Ut aram antaram kurute. Udaram antaram kurute. Udaram, what is the meaning of udaram? Udaram, the ordinary meaning is stomach. But here, ut aram. Ut aram means a little. Ut means api, even a little. Udaram, antaram kurute. Even if your book has given word to word meaning also, so that's a good, in fact, a good addition. Udaram antaram kurute. Even if he makes the slightest difference, even if he makes the slightest difference, or rather, even if he feels the slightest, even if he has some slightest sense of duality, even if he slightly feels that he is apart from Brahman, even if he slightly thinks that he is apart from Brahman, then atatasya bhayam bhavati, then he becomes possessed with fear. So atatasya, for that seeker, bhayam bhavati, he becomes, he gets afraid, or rather bhayam bhavati means he gets afraid. So he, because of that perception of duality, he thinks that he is something different and Brahman is something different, and because of that he gets afraid. Tatveva bhayam, tat tu eva bhayam, that itself is bhayam. That itself is bhayam. Tat tu eva bhayam, that itself is bhayam. Amanvanasya vidushaha. Vidushaha, even for a vidwan, of course that word even we have to borrow here. Vidusho amanvanasya. Manvanaha. Manvanaha means one who thinks. Manvanaha, a person who is thinking. The manvana, you have heard about shanach pratyaya, kurvanaha. Yeah. Say like that, kurvana, bhunjanaha, somebody who is eating. This is a present continuous tense. Present continuous tense. The shanach pratyaya, shatru shanach pratyaya, kurvan, that is for pashyan, shrunvan, all these things is parasmaipadi. Kurvanaha, bhunjanaha, etc. are atmanepadi. So that is it. So for that, manvanaha, because a person who thinks is manvanaha. Amanvanaha means a person who does not think. So in this context, a person who does not think that nothing other than Brahma exists. So a person has to think that there is nothing else is existing other than Brahman. A person has to think. So a person who does not think so, that is what it means. A person has to think that there is nothing apart from Brahman. So here we are referring to amanvanaha, that is a person who does not think so, a person who does not think that there is nothing other than Brahman. So if that man, bhayam, even if he is a scholar, even if he is a great scholar, vidushopi, even for a great scholar, amanvanasya, tadapyesha shloko bhavati. In that regard, or in that context, the following verse follows. The verse follows. So let us see the Bhashyam. Asadva idam agra asit.
Asadva idam agra asit.
So you just repeat, that is first Bhashya that repeats. Asad iti vyakruta namarupa vishesha viparita rupam avikrutam brahma uchyate. Okay, avyakruta is also okay. Avikrutam brahma uchyate. Na punar atyantameva asat. Na hyasataha sajjanmasti. Okay, asat. What is the meaning of asat? Asad iti vyakruta namarupa vishesha viparita rupam avyakruta brahma. Avikruta brahma uchyate. Vyakruta means manifested. Namarupa vishesha. Namarupa vishesha means that which is associated with these names and forms. All this manifest world that is associated with names and forms. Tad viparitam, the opposite of this manifest world is something called asat. That is avyakrutam brahma. Avikrutam, my book says avikrutam. Avyakrutam is also okay. Avyakrutam brahma uchyate. So this asad word does not refer to total non-existence. That exclusively he is saying. Na punaha, not that. Atyantameva asat. It is not atyanta asat. Atyanta asat means absolute non-existence. Total non-existence or absolute non-existence. It is not referring to shunya. It is referring to avyakruta state and not to shunya state. This is one point we have to remember. Nahi asataha sajjanma asti. Nahi asataha. From this asat, sat janma asti. Sat janma nasti. So from this non-existent or something which is shunya, nothing comes out. So that is it. From shunya, nothing comes out. Only from asat, avyakruta, only something can come out, not from shunya. Then idamiti, namarupa visheshavat, vyakrutam jagat, agre purvam, prag utpattehe,
प्रागुत्पत्तेः
ब्रह्मैव असशब्दवाच्यम् आसीत्.
ब्रह्मैव असच्छब्दवाच्यम् आसीत्.
Okay. Idam. What is the meaning of idam? Idam is nama rupa visheshavat. Visheshavat. Visheshavat here is not in the sense of Ramavat, Krishnavat, not like that. Visheshavat dhanavan. Matu pratyaya. Matu pratyaya. Visheshavat means that which is having vishesha, that which is having some attributes. Nama rupa vishesha. These attributes of name and form are there for this idam. Idam is that manifest world which is associated with or which is having attributes of names and forms. So that is vyakrutam jagat. So this means manifest world is idam. Then agre means purvam, prag utpattehe, before its creation. Then brahmaiva asat shabdavachyam asit. So it was, what was this before creation? This thing was nothing other than that avyakruta. And avyakruta is nothing different from Brahma. So this manifest world, prior to this manifestation, it was nothing other than Brahma. It was nothing other than this avyakruta Brahma. So asat shabdavachyam asit. Then tato asataha vai sat pravibhakta nama rupa vishesham ajayata utpannam. So tataha means from that asat, Panchami Vibhakti, from that asataha, from that vyakruta, vai is indeed sat. Tato vai sadajayata. Sat means what is this sat? Pravibhakta nama rupa vishesham. That is something which is distinguished by name and form. Pravibhakta. Vibhajana means dividing. Here it is not as though parts are divided, it is distinguished. Pravibhakta is distinguished by names and form. Associated, something which is associated with names and form. Vishesham. Ajayata means utpannam. It say emerged. Kim tataha pravibhaktam karyamiti.
Kim tataha pravibhaktam karyamiti.
Pituriva putraha. So kim tataha pravibhaktam karyam pituriva putraha iti. That iti you can take it to the end. That is, the question is, kim tataha pravibhaktam? Is it totally has it got totally separated? Kim tataha pravibhaktam? Has it got totally separated from that? Like pituhu iva putraha. Pituhu, from that pita, putraha iva. Just as a son is born separate, just as a son is totally distinguishable from the father, is it something like that? Pituriva putraha, pita and putra. There are two things here. Like that, has it got separated from that in that form? Na netyaha. Na ityaha. That is, it is not so. It is, the text says it is not so. Tad asat shabdavachyam swayameva atmanameva akuruta krutavat. Okay. Tad means asat shabdavachyam. Tad atmanag swayam akuruta. So that is it. Tat asat shabdavachyam. That which is called as asat, that which is designated as asat, swayameva atmanameva. For this atmanameva, say Shankaracharya, Shankaracharya also has written. Then this Vidyaranya Bhashya is quoted by Vanamala. Vidyaranya writes, Swayam anya anadhishtitam sat atmanameva jagadatmana kurtavat. He writes. Swayam, what is the meaning of Swayam? Anya anadhishtitam. Anadhishtitam means that which is not helped by somebody else, that which is not supported by anything else. You see, this Avyakruta Brahma is not depending on any other contingency. It is not depending on anything else. Swayam. Anya anadhishtitam. Not supported by anything else. Atmanameva asrujata. What is this Atmanam? Jagadatmana asrujata. Jagadatmana kurtavat. It manifested itself in the form of this Jagat. Atmanameva. The meaning is, if you simply say it created itself, what does it mean? It created itself in the form of Jagat. It created itself in the form of Atmanameva means Jagadatmana. So that is what you can write down. Jagadatmana asrujata. Akuruta means kurtavat. Kurtavat, because that Brahma is in Napumsakalinga, kurtavat is again in Napumsakalinga. Jagadatmana kurtavat. It created itself as, not he, it created itself in the form of Jagat. Yasmadevam tasmat
यस्मादेवं तस्मात्
Brahmaiva sukrutam swayam kartruchyate.
ब्रह्मैव सुकृतं स्वयं कर्तुम् उच्यते
Swayam kartru brahmeti prasiddham loke
स्वयं कर्तुं ब्रह्मेति प्रसिद्धं लोके
sarvakaranatvat.
सर्वकारणत्वात्.
So then, tasmat tat sukrutam uchyata iti. That is that line. Yasmadva, what is this? Yasmat evam tasmat. It, because it is like this. Because it is like this means, because this is a Swayam Kartru. Then, tasmat, therefore, Brahmaiva, this Brahma itself is called Sukrutam, Swayam Kartru ityuchate. This Brahma is called self-creator. Means, say, the Brahman in, say, without being supported by anything else, it manifested in the form of this Jagat, Swayam Kartru, Uchyate. Then Swayam Kartru Brahmeti Prasiddham Loke. That is, it is very well known in the Loka or in the Shastra. Loka here also means Shastra. In the scriptures it is so well known that Brahma is Swayam Kartru, Sarva Karanatvat, because it is a cause for everything else. It is a cause for everything else. So that is why it is called Swayam Kartru. Then he goes on to give the other meaning. Shankaracharya goes on to give the other meaning of Punya. Yasmadva, va means or. Yasmadva, Swayam Akarot Sarvam,
स्वयं अकरोत् सर्वं
Sarvatmana,
सर्वात्मना
Tasmat Punya Rupenapi,
तस्मात् पुण्यरूपेणापि
Tadeva Brahma Karanam Sukrutam Uchyate.
तदेव ब्रह्म कारणं सुकृतम् उच्यते.
So here he is referring to the popular meaning of the word Sukrutam. Sukrutam, the most popular meaning is Sukruta, Dushkruta, Punyam. So he is also referring to the most popular meaning. Va, Yasmad Va, because, or else, Yasmat Swayam Akarot Sarvam, Sarvatmana. This Yasmat has to be linked to the next line, and the next words. Va, you take out first, Yasmad Va, not Yasmad Va. Va, or Yasmat Swayam Akarot Sarvam, because this Brahman created everything on its own, because this Brahman manifested or created everything on its own, Sarvatmana, by being everything. When it is everything, even every karyam we do is that Brahma. Every action we do is Brahma. Every result of that action is Brahma only. Every karyam again is Jadam. The result of that karyam also is Jadam, isn't it? Result of that karyam Swayam Tasmat Swarupena api, Tasmat Punya Rupena api. Even in the form of Punya. That Punya or Papam, that also is a manifestation only, in that Brahman only. Because Punyam and Papam is Jadam, because Karma is also Jadam. Punya Rupena api, Tadeva Brahma Karanam Sukrutam Uchyate. Tadeva Brahma, the same Brahman which is the Karanam, the same Brahman which is the cause for all this, it is called Sukrutam. So this is Swayam Sukrutam. So this Sukrutam, we are having two meanings. One is that which has created itself in the form of Jagat, or Punyam, because Punyam is the popular meaning. Then Sarvathapi tu Phala Sambandhadi Karanam Sukruta Shabdavachyam Prasiddham Loke. So Loke means in the world or even in the Shastras, it is Prasiddham. Prasiddham means it is so well known. What is it so well known? Sarvathapi, this Sukruta Shabdavachyam, whatever you call it as Sukrutam, is Phala Sambandhadi Karanam. Phala Sambandhadi Karana. It is related to something else. It is related to a phalam. Sukrutam is something which is related to a phalam. When you do punyam, when you do a lot of punyam, what is the phalam? You will attain some swarga. You will go and dance there. So that is the phalam, isn't it? So, Swargadi Sambandhadi Karanam, the notes gives, our Vanamala notes gives, Sukruta Shabdavachyam is Swargadi Sambandhadi Karanam Sloka Shabdite Shastre. So, Swarga Adi Sambandha. Phalam, what is the phalam here? Phalam is Swarga. Or if it is Dushkrutam, it goes to something else, it goes to a bad world. So, like that. Sarvathapi, at all times, Sukruta Shabdavachyam, this whenever you say this punyam, whenever you say this word punyam, it is always associated with some phalam. It is always associated with either Swarga or some other loka. Phala Sambandhadi Karanam. This is the Karanam, this is the cause for attaining that particular loka. Is it clear? This sentence, is it clear? This is a cause that is linked to a phalam called sukrutam. This is a cause that is linked to a phalam. So this phalam, what is this phalam? Swargadi. So that is it. Sarvatha apitu phala sambandha sukrutam prasiddham loke. Yadi punyam यदि वा अन्यत् सा प्रसिद्धिः नित्ये चेतनत्वकारणे सति उत्पद्यते उपपद्यते. Okay. यदि पुण्यम यदि वा अन्यत्, whether it is punyam or anyat, the other thing means papam. Whether it is punyam, whether it is a good, whether it is a merit due to good deeds, or whether it is some other sinful activity, whether it is sin, sa prasiddhihi nitye chetanatva karane sati upapadyate. You see, whether it is punyam or papam, that thing will be known only against the background of something which is nityam and chetanam. You see, punyam or papam itself is jadam. And the moment it is produced, suppose you do a good karma, and punyam is there, and punyam, because it is jadam, it has to die immediately. Because it is jadam, immediately it has to disappear. But it is not disappearing. This punyam is there, punya or papa, this baggage is there for so many janmas. So that means it is all there against the background of something which is nitya, something which is eternal, against something which is eternal, something which is chetanam, something which is of the nature of intelligence. Against the background of something which is of the nature of intelligence, this punya and papa are staying. So that is how they are obtained. Otherwise they can't be obtained also. Yadi punyam yadi va anyat sa prasiddhihi. Prasiddhi is the fame that it is the cause for that swargadi phalam. The name, the fame or name, let us say. Sa prasiddhihi. Prasiddhi means name or fame. This name that it is the cause for that swarga or narakam, whatever it is, that is because of the presence of some nitya chetanam, something which is eternal, something which is of the nature of intelligence. It is only against that background that these things also exist. Otherwise this punyam also has to perish. The moment you do a good deed, it has to immediately come, and it is not immediately coming. So which means it has to perish. But it is not perishing. Punyam is there, papam is there. So these are again continuing, and then one has to undergo the result for all that. All this can happen only against the background of some intelligent cause, something which is eternal and something which is intelligent. So that is the meaning. Nitye chetanatvakarane sati. Sati is only when it is so. Only when it is so. Sati saptami. Chetane sati upapadyate. Upapadyate means it becomes appropriate. It fits in. It is logical. Otherwise it will be illogical. Unless you presume something which is chetanam, unless you accept something which is nitya or eternal, this punya papa giving result, it becomes meaningless, isn't it? Unless there is something, if it is all fleeting, if it is shunyam, everything is shanikam, if everything is momentary, everything is shunyam, then where is the question of your punya papa phalam? So punya papa phalam is there only because there is somebody who is a judge who is sitting there. Suppose the court itself is not there, then where is the question of punya or papa? Where is the question of result? Punya or papa giving result. So that is the point. Is it clear?
Yes.
So the punyam and papam will give result only when there is somebody who is giving this say punya papa, or some entity, some chetana, something called say nitya, some eternal thing which is there and which is of the nature of intelligence. Against that background only all this is possible. Upapadyate. Tasmad asti tad brahma sukruta prasiddhehe. So because this sukrutam is so well known, because this sukrutam, it is so well known that this sukrutam is going to give you some punya loka, or some other dushkrutam is going to give you some other bad loka. Therefore, asti tad brahma. Because of all this we have to say that Brahma is asti. It exists. So this is the idea is, the purpose of this say mantra is also to show that Brahma asti. Brahma astitva karanam. So the commentator means this Vanamalakara also he gives, he specifically mentions, you see, I'll read out this line. Sukruta Shabdavachyatva Sadhane na Tatparyam. Sukruta Shabdavachyatva Sadhane na Tatparyam means the purpose of this particular mantra, this particular line is not to explain the meaning of Sukruta or anything. Sukruta Shabdavachyatva. Kintu Brahma Astitva Sadhane eva Tatparyam. So Brahma Astitva Sadhana. The purpose is to say, to give one more reason, to say that it is not Shunya, it is something which exists. So that is the Tatparyam. So Swayam Akurta Tasmat Sukrutam Uchyata iti. So that is how it has to be understood. Then Itaschasti Kutaha. He is giving one more reason. So one reason which he has given is there is something called Sukrutam, and that Sukrutam or Dushkrutam can take place or can give result only against the background of something which is eternal, against something which is say intelligent. And then one more reason he is giving. Itascha asti. Itaha cha. And also for this reason. Itascha. Itaha you know this. Itaha means also for from this also. From this also. Itascha asti. Asti what? Brahma. Itascha Brahma asti. Kutaha? Rasatvat. Kuto rasatva prasiddhir brahmanaha ityata aha.
Kuto rasatva prasiddhir brahmana
ityata aha. Yadvai tat sukrutam. Raso vai saha. So this line, Yadvai sukrutam raso vai saha, that which is sukrutam is what is called rasam. So that is being so told. Kutaha vai rasatvat, because this Brahman is of the nature of rasa. Rasa, I explained to you in the last class, rasa is a very important concept in kavyas, literature. In literature, we come across these Nava rasas. Initially, there were only 8 rasas which were recognized, and finally this Karuna rasam was also, Karuna or Shanta rasam was also added. So that is why it became Shanta rasa, not Karuna rasa. Eko rasa, Karuna eva, of course there is one line by Bhavabhuti, that's a different thing. Karuna or Shanta rasa, both are one and the same. So these 9 rasas, that is the predominant say emotion in a particular work of art. That is what is called a rasam. And when you study that work of art, when you go through that work of art, your mind is filled with that particular rasa. Suppose you go to a movie, action movie, so your mind is full with that Rajoguna. Your mind is fully filled with that Veera rasa, let us say. You want to beat up everybody. The moment you see somebody, you want to punch, and then you also feel that if you just give a knock, the fellow will go and then hit that wall. And that wall will, there will be a break, there will be a hole in the wall. So your mind is filled with that rasa when you watch that action movie or some kung fu movie. You watch some other more say artistic movie. In that particularly in that artistic movie, there may be a particular sentiment. There may be some refined say love. Shrungara it is called. Shrungara is not vulgar love. It is a refined form of love. And then some other rasam may be there, some karuna rasam, shanta rasam may be there. So like that there may be so many other emotions. So here this rasa is something which is the fountainhead of all such ananda. In any work of art also there is ananda ultimately. Even this Veera rasa, you see it again and again. Why? Because it gives you some ananda. All said and done, that hero, when he punches 100 people, then you also place yourself in the shoes of that hero, and then finally you also feel some sort of ananda. And then even if there is a very sad tragedy, there is a tragedy, let us say, and even from the tragedy you also feel some little bit of ananda, otherwise you will not be seeing it. In that tragedy you go shed tears and all that, you see the grandeur, you see that grandeur of the whole thing, and then how this say poor fellow is suffering. And then from that, not because of that man's suffering you derive ananda, but our own emotions, they get purified. Our own emotions, they get purified, and in that process there is a little bit of ananda. So any work of art, whatever be the rasam, it gives some little bit of ananda to us, ultimately. So that is the point here. Raso vaisaha, rasatva prasiddhi brahmanaha ityataha. Rasa. This Brahma is called rasam. It is so famous. Brahma is called rasaha, and it is very, very well known that Brahma is called rasa. That is what it is. Then raso nama, what is this rasa? He is explaining. Raso nama trupti hetuhu.
Raso nama trupti hetuhu.
Anandakaro.
Anandakaro.
Madhura amladihi prasiddho loke.
Madhura amladihi prasiddho loke.
This is a very, very normal meaning he is giving first. What is this? Loke prasiddhaha. It is very well known in this world. What is this? Rasonama trupti hetuhu anandakaraha. That is which gives you some satisfaction. Trupti anandakaraha, which makes you happy. Then rasam eva ayam labdhva. Rasag eva ayam labdhva. Rasag is rasam. Rasam hi eva. Rasam eva ayam labdhva. He you can ignore. You ignore in the sense he means always. Rasag hi eva. Rasameva. Rasameva. Your book says he also.
Yeah.
My book is that he is missing. It should be there actually. What does it say?
Rasameva hi ayam labdhva.
Fine. Rasameva hi ayam labdhva.
Rasameva hi ayam labdhva.
Prapya. Anandi sukhi bhavati.
Anandi sukhi bhavati.
Na asataha ananda hetutvam drushtam loke.
Na asataha ananda hetutvam drushtam loke.
So this is another reason which is given for the presence of Brahma. There is something called Brahma. Otherwise, all this Ananda would not be there. So, Rasam eva hi. Because ayam means this human being or Jiva. Not only human being, but any Jiva, any Prani. Ayam Jivaha, Rasam eva labdhva. Having obtained that Rasam, Prapya, having attained it, Anandi, Sukhi bhavati. He becomes happy. Then, na asataha ananda hetutvam dushtam loke. In the world, you never see ananda hetut from something which is non-existent. Asataha means from something non-existent. For this ananda, for that non-existent thing, there is no ananda hetutvam. That means anything which is non-existent is not ananda hetu. That is the thing. Something which is non-existent is not ananda hetu. It is not the cause for happiness. Something which is non-existent cannot be the source of happiness. So for that, if you put it in Panchami Vibhakti, say one thing becomes Shashti Vibhakti and one thing becomes Panchami Vibhakti. Asataha Ananda Hetutvam Nasti. So Asataha Ananda Hetutvam Na. So in the Sanskrit, when you translate like that, the Vibhakti changes. Brahmananda Sadhana Rahita api. Sorry. Bhahyananda sadhana rahita api aniha nireshana brahmanaha bahya rasalabhadiva sananda drishyante vidvamsaha nunam brahmaiva rasastesham. Okay. Bahya ananda sadhana rahita api. You see, ananda sadhanani. That is, what are these Ananda Sadhanani? So I have a nice pen, this gives me happiness. I get a much more, some Mont Blanc pen or something like that, it gives me some more happiness. Of course, this is the pen which gives me most happiness, this 5 rupee pen, because it is much better than that Mont Blanc. Anyway, this is something which is a source for happiness. And this is something which is Bahya. Bahya Ananda Sadhana. This is one Ananda Sadhana. I have got some phone, this is another Ananda Sadhana. I have got some other thing with me, this is another Ananda Sadhana. This becomes a means for happiness. So there are so many means for happiness which we come across every day. So Bahya Ananda Sadhanani. Taihi Rahitaha. Bahyananda Sadhana Rahitaha means those who do not even have all these, those who have given up all those Bahya Sadhana. Those who have totally given up, rejected all these Bahya Sadhanani. Who are they? Anihaha, Nireshanaha. Anihaha. Iha is again desire. Aniha is some people who have no desires. For this Niriha, Vidyaranya has given one more meaning. Samasta Karana Cheshta Varjita. Vidyaranya, whatever Vidyaranya gives, Vanamalakara also writes almost the same. Niriha, he says, Samasta Karana Cheshta Varjita. That means they have given up all actions. They have abandoned, they have relinquished all actions. They have given up all Kamya Karma. That is what it means. Those who have given up all Kamya Karmas, those who have relinquished all activities. So that's what it means. Nirihaha Samasta Karana Cheshta. Karana is bodily, body mind complex. Sarva Karana Cheshtita, Cheshta Varjita. Those who have given up, relinquished all activity. So Nirihaha, it also means desire. Those who have given up desires, or they have not voluntarily given up, they have dropped away because of Viveka. And then Nireshanaha Brahmana. Yeshanatrayam we know. Vitteshana, Putreshana, Lokeshana. So that we know. So he doesn't have this Eshanatrayam. He has gone beyond that Eshanatrayam. Brahmana. Brahmana again does not refer to Brahmana Jati. It refers to Brahmavetta, a Brahmavit. One who has realized Brahman. One who has realized the truth. So those people, what is happening to them? Bahyarasa labhad iva sananda drishyante vidvamsaha. These vidvamsaha, brahmanaha vidvamsaha, vidwan.
Yeah.
Vidwan means the person. We are not referring to an ordinary professor or somebody who is a realized person. This vidvamsaha means, in this context, realized persons. These realized persons, they look as though bahyarasa labhad iva, as though they have obtained some lottery in which they got $1 million. Bahyarasa labhadiva, as though they have attained some other external happiness, attained happiness from some external means, as though he has attained some, say as I said, some big lottery or something like that, as though he has attained a small empire, as though he has attained some other big thing. So like that, bahyarasa labhadiva, sa ananda drushyante, sa ananda, that means happy, fully happy, ananda, sa ananda. Sa plus ananda. So with ananda. Sanandaha janaha. Sanandaha vidvamsa dushyante. So they appear as though they have attained some happiness from some external source. So that is it. Dushyante. Then what is the source of their happiness? Nonam. Nonam means really. Oh, it is really. So in that sense, nonam. Nonam hite kavivara viparita vacho. Nonam is a beautiful word which means, oh really. Nonam brahmaiva rasastesham. Brahma itself is the fountain source for them. Brahma, this realization of Brahma, this knowledge of Brahma, is the rasa, this is the source of happiness. Tesham, for them. For them, what is the source of happiness? The source of happiness is their realization of Brahma. Then from this point of view also, from this angle also, we have to say that there is something called Brahma. Because of that realization, these people are having that happiness. Tasmad asti tat Tesham Anandakaranam Rasavat Brahma.
Tesham Anandakaranam Rasavat Brahma.
Okay. This Brahma, which is Rasavat. Rasavat means, again, Matubarthaka. Yeah. This Brahma, which is Rasavat, that which is the fountainhead of Rasa. This is the fountain source of Rasa. Exists. Tasmad Asti. Therefore it exists. Therefore means, because it is giving happiness to all these realized persons, therefore it exists. What? Tesham Ananda Karanam. The Karanam, the cause for all the Ananda, the cause for their bliss. Some cause has to be there. That Ananda Karanam is that source which is called Brahma. Then he is giving one more reason. Itaschasti. And also for this reason. Itaha. For this reason. Itaha. Itascha. And also for this reason. Asti. Asti what? Brahma Asti. Itaschasti. Kutaha. Prananadi kriya darshanat. Pranana adi. So this is again Kohyevanyat Kah Pranyat. That line we are going to that. So every line here is interpreted as giving one reason for the existence of Brahma. First thing is Sukrutam. The second thing is Ananda. The third thing is Kohyevanyat Kah Pranyat. So this third reason is who can even breathe, who can even inhale, who can even exhale. So that is what he said. So this thing also is possible only when there is a, you see, the whole Karyakarana Sanghata is there. Karyakarana Sanghata means this assemblage called body-mind complex. This in fact we have come across in Kathopanishad also. Puram Ekadasha Dwaram Ajasya Vakrachetasaha. There is something called Puram, and then there is a Puraswami who is different from the Puram. This Puram is a Karyakarana Sanghata. There is something which is slightly distinguished from the Karyakarana Sanghata. So all these things we have seen, isn't it? So the same discussion we are going to see here. So this in the body, there is this pranana chesta, this inhalation, exhalation. There is a great coordination of this body-mind complex. There is a great coordination of several activities for the purpose of something else. And what is that something else? That something else is that intelligence thing, Antahkarana Chinna Chaitanya, which is called Jiva. That Chaitanya which is Jiva, which is slightly different, which is distinguished from this Karyakarana Sanghata, which is Jadam. So there are only two things, one is sentient and one is insentient. These insentient things, all these things, they have become Like so many parts in a vehicle, they have come together and then they are working. But then there is a driver who is there, who is operating. So like that. So all these Karya Karana Sanghata, they have come into existence, they have come together for obtaining or for doing a sort of for a single purpose, for a common objective. They have come together. So that's what we are going to see. Prananadi Kriya Darshanat, we read this line. Because we see all activities like Prananam. Then Ayamapi hi Pindo Jivataha
Ayamapi Pindo Jivataha
Pranena Praniti Apanena Apaniti
Pranena Praniti Apanena Apaniti
Evam Vayaviya Aindriyakascha Cheshtaha
Eyam Vayaviya
Aindriyakascha Cheshtaha
Aindriyakascha Cheshtaha
I, you can correct it as I. Samhataihi Karyakaranaihi
Samhataihi Karyakaranaihi
Nirvartyamana Drishyante
Nirvartyamana Drishyante
Tacha Ekartha Vrittitvena Samhananam.
Tacha Ekartha
This of course Tacha Ekartha Vrittitvena Samhananam
Tachayikartha Vrittitvena Samhananam
Na Antarena Chetanam
Na Antarena Chetanam
Asamhatam Sambhavati.
Asamhatam Sambhavati.
Okay. So Ayamapi hi Pindaha Jivataha. Pinda, you know this Pinda, Anda, Pinda, Brahmananda, etc. Pinda means the body, nothing else. Pinda does not mean a fetus or anything. Pinda in a particular context in medicine, Pinda means a fetus. But in Vedanta, Pinda means not a fetus, Pinda means the body. So this Pinda, Ayamapi hi Pindaha, Jivataha, of any living thing, of any living being, Pindaha, this particular body, this Pinda, Pranena Praniti. This Ayamapi hi Pindaha Jivataha. Jivataha is in, Jivataha means Shashti Ekvachanam. Of a living being, Jivataha Pindaha, the body of a living thing. Then Pranena Praniti. Because of this prana vayu, it is praniti, it inhales. And then apanena apaniti. And because of that apana vayu, it exhales. Apanena apaniti, it exhales. Then not only this, evam vayaviya indriyakascha cheshtaha, all activities, evam cheshtaha, cheshta means activity. All activities which are related to indriyakaha, that is relating to all organs, all motor organs and say even sense organs and motor organs, because there is a body-mind coordination which is needed, isn't it? So all this body-mind coordination, Aindriyakascha Vayaviyaha. Vayaviyaha means something related to energy. Prana. Vayu is a prana. Prana means energy, isn't it? Behind every activity there is energy. Suppose even that I am lifting this pen, there is some energy in this. So this is a pranana chesta. This is something which is a Vayaviya chesta. And then here, my hand is involved, my mind is involved, everything else is coordinated, functioning in a coordinated way. Vayaviyaha Aindriyakasya cheshtaha samhataihi karyakaranaihi. Karyakaranaihi samhataihi. Samhata, the word samhata we have come across. Sanghata. Sanghata is an assemblage. Karyakarana sanghata. Samhatam means something which has come together. Sanghata is an assemblage. Samhata is something which has come together. Karyakaranaihi samhataihi means these karya and karana which have come together. This karya and karana. Karya means the physical body, karana is the subtle body. So this is karana, karya karana, that mind, which are again come together. Karya karana hi nirvartyamanaha drishyante. All the activities, they are being performed. Nirvartyamanaha means they are being executed. Nirvartyamanaha, they are being executed, they are being performed by all these karya and karana which have come together. And for what? Tacha ikartha vrittitvena samhananam. Tattcha. And that particular samhananam. Samhananam means the fact of coming together. The act of coming together or fact of coming together, whatever it is. Or rather simply the coming together. The coming together or the very assemblage of all these things. Ekartha vrittitvena. Ekartha vrittitvena means for a single objective, for a single purpose, for one common purpose, for one single purpose. All these things have come together. How can they come together? Suppose you have got a nut, bolt, and you have got some tires, you have got some other machine and whatnot. All these things have to come together only because of some intelligent cause. So that is it. Na antarena chetanam asamhatam sambhavati. That is, all this samhananam, this coming together cannot happen because without antarena. Antarena means without. Antarena. Without chetanam, without some intelligent thing, or intelligent cause, asamhatam. Asamhatam means which is not part of this assemblage. Samhatam means something which is part of the assemblage. Asamhatam means something which is not part of the assemblage. Unless there is something which is not part of the assemblage, something which is driving it, unless there is a mechanic or somebody like that, all these parts cannot come together. So that is the point. Is this clear?
Yes.
Tatcha ekartha vrittitvena. Eka artha. Artha means prayojanam, objective or purpose. Artha vrittitvena. Vritti means they are functioning for that. Vritti. Vartate anaya iti vrittihi, isn't it? Functioning. They are all functioning for a single purpose. Ekartha vrittitvena samhananam. Coming together for a single purpose it is not possible without chetanam. Antarena chetanam. Without a chetanam. And that too asamhatam. That which is not part of this assembly. Unless it is so, all this samhananam cannot happen. Samhananam na sambhavati. Antarena chetanam. That is, all this assemblage cannot happen without something which is chetana, something which is sentient, and something which is not part of this whole thing. Then anyatra adarshyanat.
Anyatra darshanat.
So anyatra adarshyanat means where this chetanam is not there. Anyatra means where this chetanam is not there, such sort of functioning is not seen. In a dead body it is not seen. So that is it. Tadaha yad yadi yesha akashe parame vyomni guhayam guhayam nihita anandaha na syat na bhavet. So I think time is over. We can read it in the next class. 1 or 2 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Then we will read this line. Na syat na bhavet. Kohyevam loke. Kohyevam loke. Eva also it is okay. Anyat apana cheshtam kuryad ityarthaha. Kah pranyat prananam va kuryat tasmad asti tad brahma. So this is another reason, as I said, there are 3 reasons given. One is that Sukrutam, the other is Ananda, the other is all this Karya Karana Sanghata. All this Karya Karana Sanghata cannot come together on their own without the presence of something which is Chetanam. So that is the point here. Then yadi yadyesha akasha anando nasyat. So that is the line here. Yadi, if, in case, yesha akashe, yesha parame vyomni anandaha nasyat. Yesha refers to anandaha. Yesha refers to anandaha. Yesha, yes, if this ananda and akashe parame vyomni, in this particular hridaya akasha, if it were not to be there in this intellect, this hridaya akasha guha, in this hridaya guha or this cave called intellect, if this ananda were not to be there, or if this ananda were not to be reflected in this particular hridaya guha, guhayam nihitaha anandaha nasyat, if it were not to be there, nasyat means na bhavet, if it were not to be there, kohi evam, who in this manner, who will in this manner, loke anyad apana cheshtam kuryat, who can even breathe, who can even inhale, anyad, who can even inhale, kaha pranyat, who can even exhale, prananam va kuryat, who can even do prananam, prananam is exhalation, kuryat, tasmad asti tad brahma, therefore that Brahma exists. So we will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti